It's crazy, Randy. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
Are we filming right now?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, she always does. Then she gets these things that we don't even expect.
That's Susan. Today, we've got some interesting footage because
Yes.
we did some interviews with John Long and Logan Metesh, some really high-grade military collectors and historians who talk about the collection we've got coming up in February. John Long, ladies and gentlemen, is joining us on the podcast today. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about the Banister Collection. But John, can you tell our audience out there specifically what it is you do, John?
Well, certainly. I am the Director of Education at the National D-Day Memorial in Bedford, Virginia. I oversee the department that handles educational programming, also is historical research, resources, research into a question that we've been working to answer for 25 years now. That is exactly who died on D-Day, how many men from the Allied nations fell. Their names are recorded on a wall at our memorial individually. And it's a question that, at first blush, you might think, well, that should be easy. There's a list and a file somewhere, but there really isn't. It's something that takes enormous amounts of research. But also, I am in charge of the collection at the National D-Day Memorial, which is why I think Karin invited me to join you and talk about this really interesting collection you have coming up.
Where are you located?
We are in Bedford, Virginia. We are there in this small town for a very good reason. Bedford, as far as anyone knows, had the highest per capita losses of any community in the United States, maybe in the world, on D-Day itself. 19 men from a single infantry company, Company A of the 116th Regiment, fell on Omaha Beach. One man from Bedford in another company fell. So those 20 men who died on a single day, very likely within a single hour at the start of the invasion. Again, there's no other community that had such per capita losses. New York, Chicago, they lost more men, but they were huge cities. Bedford was a small town, and it was just a devastating blow for this community.
Yeah, what carnage! What an incredible battle and encounter like the world has never seen. I mean, it's just crazy. This gentleman that I met about a year ago now, he had a special interest in D-Day. And when we started looking at some of the materials, John, we said, well, wait a minute. This is more than just the average military relics.
A particular set of documents that I looked at on your catalog, but the important thing is that code word BIGOT on it, which meant top secret. Initially, only the very top brass could see this. The highest secret held by the Allied forces. Anything that is stamped with BIGOT, or has that typed on it, means it is, if it falls into German hands, there is tremendous problems for this invasion. These things are fairly rare because there weren't many printed for obvious reasons. How many survived, I don't know. By the way, Neptune is the code name for the invasion, especially the seaborne aspects of it on D-Day, but also the paratroopers that are coming in behind the beaches. They are also as part of Neptune. The bigger picture, the overall invasion is Overlord. So you see both of those terms used to describe D-Day.
I want to point out that you've got a podcast titled Someone Talked.
Yes.
And I find that so interesting because, of course, one of the biggest things that we could possibly do in the time of war is to keep secrets. and not let our plans get out and everything.
As I say, we have to keep this absolutely secret. And it's one of the great successes of D-Day that we do. The Germans don't know that we're coming. They don't know where the landings are going to take place.
Sure.
There's a story, incidentally, that kind of shows the importance of keeping this secret, and it goes back to April of 1944. There were practice exercises for the invasion because this, again, we had to be so well trained to do this. And they took place in southern England at a place near Slapton Sands. Was the name of this area, and it sort of resembled Utah Beach, and so there were many practice exercises for the various amphibious assault teams. Well, in April, one night during one of these practice exercises involving the 4th Division, German E-boats, torpedo boats, snuck into the Armada, fired their torpedoes, and sank a number of vessels, including very important LSTs, landing ships tank. About 700 American men were killed in this attack. But what really concerned Eisenhower at the very top is that 10 of those men missing were bigots. In other words, they had seen and knew the top secret that the invasion's coming in Normandy. At that point, it was scheduled for late May or early June, but no particular date yet. But what if those men had been captured by the German U-boats? What if they had been killed, but in their pockets would be something that gave away the secret? And there's a great concern for a couple of days. Where are the bigots? Where are those 10 men? Now, they were located and identified. The secret remains safe, but it shows the extent to which the Allies were determined to keep this top secret. Our podcast is Someone Talked, which is hosted by John McManus, one of the best-known World War II historians and just a good friend of the memorial. Subscribe, like, listen. It's available on all the major podcasts, and certainly be remiss if I didn't invite people to come to Bedford, Virginia, and see the memorial. We're, little off the beaten path. We're not in Washington, D.C. Or New York City or any place. But if you're coming through this part of Virginia, take a trip over to see the memorial. So as soon as spring comes, beautiful time to visit, and guarantee it will be a moving experience for you.
What history. And it's so incredible. What they did for us is one of the reasons we can sit and talk like this today. A big thank you to all of our D-Day vets, families, everybody who fought in the war and continue to fight for us, all of our current military. Again, we cannot thank you all enough for what you do for us so that we have these wonderful freedoms here.
Absolutely. Completely agree.
Hi, I'm Andy.
Nice to meet you, Randy.
You're Logan?
Yes, sir. My background is in museums. My degree is in historic preservation. I worked for the National Park Service and the Smithsonian Institution and then the National Firearms Museum before going out on my own and offering different services to museums and auction houses and all sorts of different places.
I started my life as a military collector also, so in auctions, it's one of my favorite auctions that we ever do is military auctions, even though it's a small part of what we do. We were contacted by the owner of the collection, and he's out in Oregon, the state of, and said, hey, I need you to come pick up my collection. And I thought, well, wait a minute, there's got to be 100 auction houses between here and Oregon that would do that. But he has seen some of our results, liked what we did, and we were lucky enough to get it.
Two of the items that really caught my eye were the relic rifles that were attached to pieces of wood that had been found. One of them, I think, was found on Omaha Beach.
Omaha Beach, yeah.
Yeah, and that is just not something you see very often. It's hard to get a gun out of Europe in any condition, whether it's a relic or a fully functioning gun. So to see something like that, make it back to the States and for it to be something that, has a D-Day connection for that particular piece. I just think that is so incredibly cool. It's a nightmare to import stuff like that into the States. So the fact that your consignor had multiple pieces like this, I thought that was incredibly cool. And that's just a whole different aspect of gun collecting.
And what was really interesting when I went to his house and was looking at his collection, I mean, he had those on the wall, and he said, as proud as I am of these, he said, I do understand they probably won't go for any money. And I looked at him and I thought, I don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. To have the actual locations and the provenance and everything, I thought was pretty neat. So it'll be interesting to see, just what that does. The 00 serial number P38s seem to be getting the most phone calls. I guess there were only 100 of them made. And so we have number 11, 12, and then I think we've got 100. So to have 3 in one auction.
Yeah, and P38s in general are incredibly collectible among World War II collectors because there is such a variety among them. You get guys that are chasing different date codes or slightly different configurations, or they're only interested in ones made in 1942 or 1944 for whatever reason. There's so much variation, and as collectors we're always looking for an excuse to buy another piece. And if you're like, oh well, this one, the grips are a little different on this one, so that's the one I want. So for this instance, for the pieces that you've got, that creates its own subset of collecting. For folks who have already assembled a standard P38 collection, they look at that and go, okay, well, this is something I don't have. Let's take the collection in a slightly different direction, step things up a notch, right?
Right. Is there one favorite piece that you would have out of the auction?
That's a tough question. Do you have kids, Randy?
I do.
That's kind of like asking someone, do they have a favorite kid?
Well, I do have a favorite son and I have a favorite daughter. So
there you go. It's tough. There's a lot of neat pieces in there. I like the Johnson rifle. That's those are cool. I love the history behind the concept of the Johnson. It gives us a big what if had that rifle beaten out the M1 Garand from what we did end up with. So I like that from the what if standpoint. You guys have an FP45 Liberator. I love that. Just the idea behind that gun, that cheap little sheet metal stamped gun, made by the GM headlamp department, the GM guide lamp department, stamping out headlights, and now they're making guns. That is the epitome of the World War II machine that we had in the United States in our industry, the arsenal of democracy. You had everybody pitching in and using their equipment to make unconventional things. So you end up with a GM pistol.
This one's kind of neat in the fact that it's so complete with its box and instructions and everything. And even the shells are in it, which is really kind of neat.
The box and the paperwork to me is even more interesting than the gun, because the gun's made out of metal. The gun's going to last, but that box and the instructions, that's cardboard and paper. And cardboard and paper, whether we're talking about gun related stuff or any other kind of collectibles or ephemera, paper isn't meant to survive, not in that capacity. And so the fact that box is still with it and that the instructions are still with it, that's the kind of thing, there are plenty of people who have Liberator pistols in their collection, but I bet only a fraction of them have them in their collection with the box and the paperwork.
But one gun that I found really interesting was the Volkssturm piece. It's such a piece of junk. I mean, when you look at how this thing was made, it's so crude, and a machine gun barrel, and the bolt is just exactly that. It looks like somebody screwed a bolt in the side, and it's just so crudely done. It's so against anything Germany was doing at that time. All their weapons were so high quality, and then all of a sudden at the end they threw that out. How many could there be?
Yeah, that's a testament to how the war was going. You look at, as things churned on and as the machine just kept going. I mean, you saw issues, both in Germany and in Japan, with the quality of the weapons that are being turned out. You can tell a lot about the state of the war and how it is going just by looking at the guns that are being produced. And I think that's one of the neat things about World War II collecting is that you can't necessarily do that with World War One. You look at rifles put out in 1914 look just like the ones put out in 1918.
Yeah.
And Civil War as well, or a Revolutionary War. It's a very unique to World War II situation. Really, but that's the difference, is that there are certain types of collectors that are out there that collect as investment, and then there are collectors who collect out of emotion and attachment. And sometimes there's overlap in there, and sometimes there's not. And there's no right or wrong way to collect the guns. People just have different motivations. We collect these things, but we never truly own them. We're just the caretakers for the next generation. And I always tell people, because guys and gals will spend their entire life putting together this amazing collection. And I can't tell you the number of times that I've been approached by people when I worked in the museums, like, oh, I want to give my entire collection to the museum. Well, one, museums don't have the space to take, entire collections in that regard. Two, your entire collection is not going to go on display altogether. And three, no one will ever love your collection like you loved your collection.
Right. Good point.
Double-edged sword. There's some stuff that I'm glad is in a museum because then everyone gets to enjoy it. But on the other hand, there's some stuff that I'm glad is in private hands because it's still being used for those purposes. And, I think about both sides of that when I look at auctions, because especially with some of the more high-end pieces or stuff from rarer makers, I go, well, it's entirely possible that the person bidding on that is bidding on behalf of a museum.
Did you have a chance to look at any of the paperwork, the BIGOT paper, the Neptune or anything from D-Day, and what would be your thought on that?
I did. I took the opportunity to look at those as well, and that is a remarkable collection of material, pieces of not just American history but world history. It's truly a snapshot in time of incredibly important events and scenarios and things that were going on. The amount of planning and time that went into the creation of all of that, those are the physical representations of things that were so much bigger than just those pieces of paper. And again, like we talked about with the boxes and in the instructions, paper isn't meant to survive. It's tough for things like that to be preserved and be preserved properly. For so long, we saw people, oh, well, I laminated it to preserve it. Oh, dear God, laminating it was terrible. Oh, well, I put Scotch tape on the tears. Oh, God, now we got to deal with that. So those documents are a very, very cool snapshot of history. That tells a side of the story that you don't necessarily always have the insight into from public history books or other things. That's a very special look into those events. The Johnson paperwork, again, you guys have a Johnson rifle in the sale. And so, I can see that going one of two ways. You've got someone who goes, oh man, here's my opportunity to get a complete Johnson collection, as it were, in one sale, and they're bidding on both of those, or you've got the guy who already has a Johnson and goes, man, I'd really like to have, the paper documents to go with it. And that's just so very cool to be able to have both the rifle and the paperwork there.
Logan, again, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to talk with us today, because we're always interested in getting any feedback on items like this, and helping our consigners and also helping historians and people interested in purchasing this to get another point of view as to what some of these artifacts are and how important they are.
Absolutely.
So,
well, I'm happy to do it. I appreciate you guys reaching out and giving me the opportunity to join you here and talk about this stuff. For the folks that are checking out this podcast, the one that I host, that I've been hosting for the last 3 years, is called the No Lowballers podcast.
Oh yeah,
No
your info will be
Lowballers.
right
How'd you
up on
get
the
that?
screen.
How'd you get that name?
That's a great story. We were trying to come up with the name of the podcast, and the sponsor of the show is gunbroker.com. And we were joking, we threw out all sorts of standard tropes that you would think of when you're thinking of gun history podcasts. And then it came to me, I was like, you know what? I have always gotten so sick of hearing, you go to gun shows and a guy will have just a run-of-the-mill rifle and he's got a price tag on it that's like 3 times what the gun should be worth, and he's got it marked firm, and you're talking with the guy and he's like, no lowballers, I know what I got. And it's just always been just such a joke, and so I was like, well, it's a podcast, hosted by an auction site, so why don't we call it, how about No Lowballers? And I just threw that out there as a joke, and I'll be damned if it didn't stick.
Stuck. Yeah, that's great. Well, speaking of lowballing, we're on our way tomorrow morning. We're going to Louisville. So we'll see what goes on out there. You never know what's for sale out in Louisville. I go there to promote auctions and display and everything, but I can never help myself. I always come home with more in my truck than I went there with. I end up buying some really fun stuff shows up at Louisville. I enjoy that show immensely.
Yeah. Best of luck with the sale, and I'll be curious to see how the lots close and how things go. That's always a lot of fun. Yeah, you never know.
That's exactly right. It's an auction. You never know.
Awesome. Well, best of luck, and I appreciate you having me on.
So are they collectors from a young age like you were?
I think both
Probably,
of them.
huh?
Yeah. I have to believe a lot of people get involved in military collecting, Susan, because back in the day we all played Army.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
playing Army, you'd
You're
put on
outside
a
lot.
helmet
Yeah,
and
everybody's outside playing in the alley.
in the alleys, yeah.
I didn't have an alley.
If you've got
I
alleys
had
in
a
your
backyard.
neighborhood, that's what we did. And there'd always be some old lady in the neighborhood going, "You're alley rats! You're nothing but alley rats!" throwing us out of the alley. Oh my God.
Isn't that funny? That's how we are now. We've turned into the neighbors.
The old Berwyn
God.
Bohemians throwing us
Yeah.
out of the alleys. Okay.
All right, so that's going on today. Watch the footage for that, because they're going to be talking about the Banister Collection.
The Banister
up.
Collection, and
I can't wait to
actually,
hear it.
John and I are leaving to go. We will be, at the time of this, we will
Yes.
actually be in
Louisville, Kentucky,
Louisville.
at the Show of Shows. Go visit these guys. They're in Louisville.
If you
at the
can make
Convention
it
Center.
to Louisville, come on out and see us, because it's the best military show
It is.
anywhere.
It is.
It's the best.
And you'll be gone from Wednesday to Sunday.
Wednesday through
So
Sunday.
party at Donley Auctions for a couple days. We
Or-
actually, we always
come
do,
to Louisville.
whenever you're gone, is amazing
that?
things happen. We do all kinds of stuff while you're gone.
I could only
So
imagine.
when you come back, you're always surprised. Yeah, good stuff. Okay,
Well,
so-
yeah, I think last time I left, or we left, you and
We're
I
both
were
gone,
in
yeah.
Mexico looking for cannons, and we come home, and they got a
And
cannon
there's a
here.
cannon in the middle of the floor.
It was pretty neat.
It was pretty neat. So
Pretty
you
neat.
never know what's going to happen while you're gone. We'll be running the, manning the fort here for you.
Okay, I want more cannons.
More cannons.
Make sure when I come back, there's a tank.
Oh, okay.
In the middle.
Or
Okay.
or a classic car from the 60s and 70s.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'll work towards that.
So we're talking today, obviously, about well, a lot of things. One being the Banister Collection.
Yes, which is,
we've
let
got
me
the
just say
catalogs
real
out.
quick, it is Saturday, February 7th, and it is online at DonleyAuctions.com. So go to our website right now and go check it out.
But we've got a lot of auctions online.
We do.
Actually have the McCauley Sign Collection.
That's coming up March 21st. That's a Saturday also. Wait till you see the signs that we have hung up in the building here. It's amazing. He had a great collection.
Mm-hmm.
McCauley Sign Collection, March 21st.
And that's actually part 2. This is the second sign collection we've sold for John McCauley.
Yeah.
Interesting. And we've got a
And
license plate
these are
collection.
part of it, actually. All of these neons are part of the McCauley Sign Collection. This is only
The Kenny Roaster.
the Kenny Roasters.
Kenny Rogers Roaster.
It's crazy in here, Jerry. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
At any rate, getting back to seriousness here, a lot coming up.
Yes.
And but I started to say we're not just looking for military, although we're always doing military auctions. We are looking for cars. We
Yes.
are looking for motorcycles. We are looking for slot machines, pinball machines, you name it. I always say this: I need you to be a story topper. Let us know these great collections that you have. Let us know this great rare item that you have. We need the biggest and the best. I'm looking for bars and back bars.
True.
Bigger the better.
Big pieces.
And we will move them. We will move them out of the location. If there's a bar in an original location, an old tavern somewhere,
Yeah,
know,
you
in
guys are like
Cicero, Illinois.
expert movers. Get in, dismantle it, take it out.
We
So
specialize
nothing
in
is really
bars.
a big deal for you guys at all
No.
to move. So keep us in mind for that. If you do have something, give us a call at 815-923-7000, or better yet, email us a photo at consign@DonleyAuctions.com. One other auction that's coming up too, don't forget folks, go to our website. The license plate collection is on a Thursday, March 5th. It's online only, so you can bid from the comfort of your own home. On March 5th, go to our website at DonleyAuctions.com. There's a red button there. Click on it. It'll take you to the catalog. So we have, 600 license plates coming up?
Thereabouts.
March 5th. Check it out.
Yeah, okay. So
Okay,
for now,
I'm Susan.
and I'm Randy Donley, and
I
we'll
will
see you at the auction.